I'm sat here with Paul McCarthy of the Wolf Rock Boat Company. And Paul, it's a great pleasure to spend a few moments with you. I'm really interested to help our Powerboat and RIB followers understand the sort of behind the scenes, if you will.
Well, thank you, Hugo, to let me join in and just speak about that. Yeah, it is quite a big commitment. We are a small family business down in South Devon. We have a great team, probably about 12 full-time employees. We must have another probably 12 people up here helping us this week that are just doing the show and helping with demos. It's massive in terms of just getting these boats prepared and ready to come up here and to be on the stand and presented well. We have to tow them all up from Devon.
Yeah.
We'll obviously then have to plan out our stand. So we don't want too many crammed on our stand and the gaps between all the boats and which ones are we selling the most of, where do we put those? So it's a huge amount of work that starts, well, it's starting now actually for next year. You know, we will be wandering around our stand. Slava Rodionov from the factory from Ukraine's actually here with me for a few days this week. It's crazy for a family business like us to be spending the kind of money that we are here up at the show. You know, on both stands, I'd probably estimate by the time I paid everyone's beer tab this week and fed everyone, paid all the fuel for the boats up and down, probably looking at around about £150,000 that we're spending here this week. So it is a huge financial commitment. I think to do that, you've got to have confidence in your brand. Yeah. So I've been in this business, it feels like 5 minutes. You and I met back in, I reckon, at 2008 when I first started the Wolf Rock Boat Company, working by myself with my cousins coming in and rigging boats and servicing boats after hours. And we've built this up really, really gradually. I mean, from literally paying my father £1,000 a month in rent for one of the units at the time, and me on my own without any employees. I was the happiest man alive. And back in 2008 when we had the crash, I was so lucky that I didn't have the horrendous overheads that all of the bigger guys. Brig at the time in South Devon was probably the only brand that wasn't taken for me to be a dealer. And in 2010, I've gone out to the factory and I've met other guys from around the world that are selling Brig. And the message was, we go big at boat shows and we've got a great brand. And these guys were making money out of the boats as a business, which, as you know, in the boat business is actually quite a difficult thing to do. So that's where the confidence comes, really, to actually do what we've done here at the show. That you have to have confidence in the brand, have to be doing the numbers. You know, now we're probably bringing in across all brands probably about 150 boats a year, maybe more. We're looking at probably £1,000 a hull, whether it's a 3.3 metre or an Eagle 10. My simplistic man math to try to make this work out in my head, am I absolutely crazy or not? Does it work? And for us, thankfully, it does work. Otherwise, we wouldn't come back each year and do this. It's paid for by the Wolf Rock Boat Company. It's not paid for by the factories that we're representing. So, yeah, a huge commitment, bit scary, and, yeah, just really happy when you sell some boats. So we had a very good day yesterday and a good week so far, so I'm smiling just.
Well, you're a courageous man, and you and Sarah, your wife, you make a great team. That's abundantly clear. It's astonishing what you've achieved with the Wolf Rock Boat Company. You have become, in every way, the most successful seller of ribs here in the UK, without question. And in the process, you brought boating to so many new people. You've actually helped the industry to grow.
I'm a boat addict. I love boats. I haven't done a day's work since December 2007. My wife might disagree with that, by the way, but we want our boats to be right. You know, if you come onto our stand on Brig here this week, they've got hydraulic steering. They're all rigged with Garmin. They've all got Suzuki's on the Brig stand. You know, we only use SBS trailers. We don't do that, I can assure you, to make more money out of the boats. In some ways, we do that to have a strong brand. And actually, when people are coming back to me on the stand and they've got a 2014 Eagle 645 that's been rigged by Tony Chope and our team back down in South Devon, you know it's going to be right. You know that actually you're not going to unpick that boat and find a load of electrical tape hanging up bits of wires up in the consoles. That's really important to me. I want people to come into the boat and enjoy boats. Everyone says that, But we do. Of course, I love it when I sell an Eagle 10 or an Eagle 8. But actually, yeah, a little 4-metre, 40 horsepower around Southampton estuary where we are, they're like Land Rovers. People buy those and actually they don't ever really sell them because they're so useful. So they buy a bigger boat, right, and they still keep the 4.5 metre for around in Southampton. And it's a little bit, it's frustrating sometimes when people are buying Chinese PVC boats, which I wouldn't touch with a barge pole because there's so much money now to retube these boats. So we've got in-house tubers at home. So we just try to get that quality and standard right. It costs a little bit more money. Actually, I'd like to even say here, we're so lucky, we've just put our first order in for Falcon 500s, Falcon 420s, if any of our viewers are interested in those boats, because we've not had them since the start of the war back in 2022. We started off producing Eagle 8s, 6.7s and 6s and the bigger boats. We have our new Navigator range, but in fact, actually, we're just about back to full power now from Brig with the factory. So yeah, I'm literally, my office manager is just doing the order now to the factory for some of these smaller starter boats.
It's great.
You know?
No, that's really interesting, and it's an amazing thing that the factory has continued to produce as it has all through these difficult times and the terrible war that's going on, and continuing to not only to output numbers, but the quality has never lessened, which is an astonishing achievement.
Absolutely, and to actually develop new products. You know, we're lucky that we're presenting here the Navigator 20 for the first time. The Navi 22 has come out within the last 12 months. On our Eagle range, we're on a Gen 2 edition on Eagle 6.7s and Eagle 8. On the Eagle 6.7, we've now got the 250 Curo and a T-top. So that's the first time we presented that boat here at the show. So they've done an extraordinary job. But I have to say, they are extraordinary people, just about their resilience and how they go about their business as well. And for Slava, it is a business. You know, it's not a hobby. You know, we do need to sell these boats and they need to make a profit so they can reinvest. The factory did get shelled back in 2022. I mean, horrendous loss, tens of millions of dollars. So actually the fact that they're even financially able to get back and to be making boats still in the same factory is quite, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's
incredible achievement.
Yeah.
So let's conclude then, thinking in terms of the show. What do you think the show gets right, and what do you think it could improve with?
That's a good question. And of course, I've been talking to other exhibitors, you know, at the show over the last few days, and the show is a bit smaller than last year. But the quality of, I think, some of the stands in our area have to be extremely good. The Brigs stand, obviously, I'd like to think, looks pretty impressive. I think Nordcap have done a good job. I think Honda have done a good job. Bentley and Williams, where we're on this corner. So there's kind of signs of people making a bit more effort with their displays. But at the end of the day, it's a show and the public want to come and see boats. You know, I know we've got the internet. I know we can put boats on Facebook and Instagram to see them, but there's nothing quite like coming down and touching a boat. And actually, 400 exhibitors here. You know, if we could all get 100, you know, customers to come to the show, that's a lot of people coming to the show. We give away tickets in our business like confetti, you know, to the guys that are buying boats from us. They're in a family, they're in a club. I think they get it right in terms of getting the boating community together. And I think maybe somehow we need to do that at this show. So actually people are bothering to come back and to look at boats and to come and just, see what's new, see what's actually out there. You know, I think the bottom line, chatting to a few of the bigger guys, obviously it's a shame we're not getting big displays of Princesses and Sunseekers here, because they're obviously using Cannes, where we were a week or so ago, as their launch pad rather than here. I don't know, but obviously there needs to be a bit of a rethink on some of it about how it's marketed and presented. I don't know, give me your views. What do you think we should be doing differently?
I think it's better with its smaller footprint, more consolidated, that's better. I think the days need to also be consolidated. You may feel differently as an exhibitor.
On the panels that I've been there, I've actually stood up and been fighting for keeping it as 10 days. And the main reason for that
right.
actually is the weather, the good old British weather.
Yeah.
You're right, this show could be 6 days long, would be absolutely fine. But if you get a washout on one weekend, you've got half a chance of the next weekend. That's been my feeling as to why I've been thinking, no, we need to keep it this long. I mean, we've had rain both Saturdays. We've been blessed with the weather this week. And we've actually had, we've had good footfall through our stand this week. You know, we'll measure how many leads. We'll measure the lead value. So has it gone up or down? So has the lead value cost us more or less than last year? Is the lead count? Yeah, if it was 5 million lead value last year, are we 4.5 this year or are we 6? You know, and those, okay, the sales are important. You need the money, but you have to find different ways of measuring how successful your own stand is, really. And I think we're probably a bit more expensive on a lead value compared to, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, but not that far off. I think that's because we're getting the results for the efforts that we put in. You know, you do reap what you sow.
Well, you certainly do put a lot of effort in. And I'm glad to hear that you are reaping what you sow, and it's rewarding. So well done. In difficult and challenging times, the Bullfrog Boat Company continues to succeed. So well done, and well done to your team. So it's been a great pleasure talking to you today, Paul. Thank you very much for sharing your time with Powerboat and RIB, and may the show continue to go well for you.
Pleasure. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.